Gravity Falls. Probably the last thing anyone expected from the Disney Channel. With its lovable style, hefty doses of black comedy, wonderful characters, nightmarish moments, and highly dramatic plotlines, Gravity Falls quickly took everyone by storm and became a phenomenon. The internet buzzed for years trying to solve eliminate puzzles, and the audience was always delighted when new twists and turns were revealed. And with such a long wait between seasons, and sometimes between episodes, anticipation was always high. But then came the announcement that the show would end after its second season. And what an ending it turned out to be! I can't imagine the show going out in greater style. And with such a fun show behind us, it's only fitting that this video should be made. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my top 10 favorite Gravity Falls moments. Now, note that I say moments. This is not a favorite episodes list or a list of the best plot lines. These are about moments in the story that I particularly like. It doesn't mean anything not mentioned is not loved as well, or that it's not deserving of praise. And you don't have to agree with this list. Feel free to tell me what you think should have been on here in the comments. Now, if you haven't seen the series all the way up to the end of the finale, then first of all, what the hell are you doing here? And second, huge fucking spoilers! I feel like this should be obvious, but hey, there you go. So, with that said, let's get mystery solving. Number 10. Stan's thoughts on Dipper. One of the things I like the most about this show is the strong bond between its characters. They're all a bunch of weirdos in their own way, but the series is full of small moments that serve little other purpose than to show the lot of them bonding. It's just wonderful to see. Other shows take note. It is possible to portray a social circle that genuinely loves each other and create tension without having everyone be at each other's throat all the time. Just a little tip. That said, in the episode Dreamscaperers, Dipper is getting frustrated that Stan always gives him the most difficult chores, feeling like Stan is deliberately picking on him. And when circumstances lead to the gang literally traveling inside Stan's memories, seeing this doesn't exactly help.
Dude, Stan, I've been meaning to ask you, why are you so hard on Dipper all the time?
The kid's a loser. He's weak. He's an utter embarrassment. I just want to get rid of him.
But as Dipper learns when he later revisits this memory, sometimes it's all about context.
Oh, this again?
He's a loser. He's weak. I just want to get rid of him. Yeah. Those are all things people said about me when I was a boy.
Huh?
It was terrible. I was the biggest wimp on the playground. So you see? That's why I'm hard on Dipper. To toughen him up, so when the world fights, he fights back.
Do you think it's actually working?
I did it! Yes! He's really coming along. When push comes to shove, I'm actually proud of him. Just don't ever tell him that. His head's big enough as it is.
That's true.
Yeah, the it's for your own good thing is kind of old hat, I know. But even though it took a literal trip inside Stan's mind for Dipper to see it, note that this memory has him talking to SOOS, showing that Stan is a lot more willing to open up than he lets on. Because genuine communication heals many wounds. And people in this show communicate.
You did this! You did this because you couldn't handle me going to college on my own!
Mabel, wait! I didn't mean it like that! Mabel, come back!
Well, I mean, most of the time. Other times they kind of set the apocalypse in motion. Nobody's perfect? Number 9. GIFFANY corners SOOS. SOOS is pretty much the embodiment of fun. Always happy, always nice to the twins, and equipped with a can-do attitude, he's the kind of guy you'd be happy to meet at work every morning. But when his cousin Reggie announces his wedding and SOOS now has to find a date to attend it with, his insecurities with talking to women come to the surface. And at first, it's hilarious.
Your face is good. I'm a SOOS. Eye contact! Did you know pigs have a hard time walking backwards? Not you, though. Not that I'm calling you a pig. Where are you going?
But it soon becomes clear that it actually does hurt him a lot. So in a moment of insecurity, he plays a Japanese dating simulator in order to practice talking to women. Unfortunately for him, GIFFANY, the girl in the game, is very much sentient. And when he does meet a cute girl in real life, GIFFANY does not take it well.
What's important is you don't have to talk to real girls ever again. You and me can be together forever.
That's awesome. Sort of a red flag, but mostly awesome.
Dude, what is that question mark on your shirt painted with? Your brain fluids? And she means business. When SOOS tries to break it off to go on a Chuck E. Cheese date with his new girl, they're both dorks and it is adorable. Shut up! GIFFANY uses her powers to possess the band animatronics and attacks the restaurant. As the situation escalates, GIFFANY corners SOOS and goes for the kill. Emotionally, anyway.
Think about it. Real girls are unpredictable. They judge you. You really think Melody is going to take you back after this awful date?
God, look at that face. She really struck a nerve there. It's like he actually believes her for just a moment. Thankfully, SOOS defeats GIFFANY and is all the happier having found Melody.
I'm going back home to Portland in a few weeks, but we can video chat if that's okay with you.
A relationship with a girl that I can only see through my computer. Sounds perfect.
Oh, you. Number 8. Pacifica opens the gates. Oh, Pacifica, why are you so damn entertaining to watch? Despite being introduced as a stereotypical bitch in Season 1 with absolutely no redeeming qualities, this bratty little rich girl was rather well liked by fans.
I need your help.
You're the worst.
Just, you know, not by most main characters in universe. Hirsch, never one to ignore his fans, listened. And when Season 2 rolled around, it took just 2 episodes for Pacifica to become much more than what she was. But it was Northwest Mansion Mystery, where the Northwest hired Dipper to get rid of a vengeful lumberjack ghost before their big annual party, that really took the cake. Or, I don't know, sold the cake to the highest bidder? I don't really have a lot of non-Trump rich people jokes. As it turns out, the ghost is rightfully angry because the workers of Gravity Falls built the Northwest Mansion with the promise of being invited to the annual banquet, only to be locked out and killed in a mudslide. And now all Northwests and anyone attending the banquet face his ghostly wrath. And with good reason, as the Northwest family is guilty of a lot of deliberate cruelty across generations. Not the least of which is Preston and Priscilla's treatment of their daughter.
What did I tell you about that dress? The theme is seafoam green, not lake foam green. Go change!
But I kind of like it.
Mind your mother, Pacifica.
But... Yes, Father.
Did they use Pavlovian conditioning on their goddamn daughter? Oh my god. They conditioned her to fit their own definition of high society to a point where she's more afraid of getting the carpet dirty than she is of the angry spirit trying to turn her to wood and burn her alive. Do I even have to get into how disgusting that is? I can't have been the only one that cheered when this happened. Yay! Oh, do Priscilla next! Do Priscilla! But with a little help from Dipper, Pacifica realizes that you never have to be what other people try to mold you into. And powering through a lifetime of emotional abuse, she opens up the gates to let the common folk of Gravity Falls in, thus breaking the curse, letting the spirit rest in peace, and taking her own first steps towards self-betterment. It's a huge display of inner strength in what was already a great horror episode in general. And of course, some of the cuter moments with Dipper don't exactly hurt. What? I like seeing characters be happy! Get off my back! Number 7. Dipper shoots Stanford. Poor Dipper has been through a lot during his summer in Gravity Falls, and one of the most traumatic moments was likely being possessed by the terrifying Bill Cipher in sock opera. It was so great for him to have Stanford Pines enter his life, a grown-up that respects him and shares his enthusiasm for the town's mysteries. So it's no wonder he felt betrayed, scared, and confused when a scan of Ford's mind revealed this.
Then it's a deal. From now until the end of time.
Just let me into your mind, Stanford.
Please, call me a friend.
And that's funny, I had a couple other words in mind. Something along the lines of blind, or gullible, or dumbass, but hey, friend works too. Thinking that Ford is in cahoots with Bill and possibly possessed, Dipper grabs the mind eraser gun and holds it at Stanford's head.
Now just calm down.
Pine Tree? Is that what you were going to call me?
I was gonna say please, kid.
Yikes, that kid is seriously traumatized. In fact, he's traumatized enough to pull the trigger. In a moment as badass as it is terrifying, Dipper shoots Stanford in an attempt to erase Bill from his mind, only to find out he wasn't possessed, is not working with Bill, and is immune to the mind erasing. Thank God. But that moment, that standoff where Dipper doesn't know who to trust and has entirely too many reasons to believe the worst, may be one of the most tense moments in the entire show. And it's handled wonderfully. Stanford puts it best.
If that really was Bill, though, you would have done great. I should have been more.
Number 6. WEIRDMAGEDDON begins. We knew Bill was terrifying. We knew he planned to make our reality his personal playground. And when ads started showing up for something called WEIRDMAGEDDON, we knew we would have to brace ourselves. But oh boy, did it live up to the name. Tons of weird creatures, random reality warp bubbles, and Bill being... well, Bill. But the best part is easily when Bill unleashes the whole thing and gives us one hell of a villain speech.
This party never stops! Time is dead and meaning has no meaning! Existence is upside down and I reign supreme! Welcome one and all to WEIRDMAGEDDON!
And then, just to fuck with you, he alters the intro accordingly, making a mockery of everything you love as a fan. Just to let you know that not even you are safe. It's wild, it's scary, it's occasionally pretty funny in its absurdity, and most of all, it's weird. There's really not much more to add to this. It's just an incredibly well done case of raising the stakes in the most entertaining way possible. Number 5. Dipper's Case. When Mabel has unwittingly caused WEIRDMAGEDDON due to her fear of facing the realities of growing up, Bill traps her inside a mysterious bubble. Determined to get his sister back, Dipper leads his friends inside to rescue her, only to find her in a seemingly perfect dream world where everyone can instantly have anything they ever wanted. Which, in Mabel's case, is apparently the worst kind of Care Bears diarrhea I've ever seen. I mean, this place is horrifying!
I'm a stuffed animal tree.
Be gone, abomination! Quickly realizing that the place is a sham just meant to make them not want to leave, Dipper tries to argue with her to return and help him, but she refuses. Eventually it is taken to an imaginary high court, and Dipper now has the seemingly impossible task of convincing Mabel that reality, where you can be hurt and not everything turns out as you hope, is still better than the sugar-coated dreamland she's hiding in.
Look, real life stinks sometimes, okay? I'm not gonna lie. But there's a better way to get through it than denial, and that's with help from people who care about you.
Browsing through some bad memories that Mabel brings up, or, well, that her fantasy lawyers bring up.
Your Honor, townsfolk, lovely ladies of the jury.
Oh, he's talking about us! We're not that lovely. Oh.
Dipper turns them on their head, reminding her of the good times that came with them. Like how he fixed their school photo when somebody put gum in Mabel's hair. And the time when Dipper was upset about getting no Valentine's cards? Well, I think that one speaks for itself. Look, I'm gonna be real with you guys for a moment. But when reality comes crashing down, and in this case it does quite literally come crashing down, our perception likes to play tricks on us. It becomes bleak, and it's nearly impossible to see or even believe in the positives. I know. I've been there. I still go there more often than I care to admit, but it's just so important to remember the positives. Even when you can't see them, and even if you just can't believe they even exist in that moment, they are there. And it's so important to hold on to that. Yeah, on the surface, this moment is a very stock power of love speech delivered in the cheesiest surroundings possible. It really should be too much to take seriously. But the sincerity shines through all the same. And for that, I applaud it.
Awkward sibling hug?
Sincere sibling hug.
Number 4. Mabel's Choice. It was already clear after the first season that something was up with Stan. And as season 2 unfolded, there was no room for doubt. But when Stan is suddenly arrested and accused of not being Stan Pines, things take a sharp turn fast enough to give anyone whiplash.
Mayday! Mayday! Agent down!
Taking me a bit literally, aren't we? The twins then discover his underground lab, where a giant portal is seemingly about to tear reality apart. But when they try to close it, Stan begs for them to trust that he's doing it for a reason. This leaves them with a choice. Shut down the machine then and there, or trust the man that has been lying to them from the very start. It seems an obvious choice, but when it's left up to Mabel to decide, she's not so sure.
I wanted to say that you're gonna hear some bad things about me, and some of them are true. But trust me, everything I've worked for, everything I care about, it's all for this family.
Mabel, what if he's lying? This thing could destroy the universe. Listen to your head.
Look into my eyes, Mabel. You really think I'm a bad guy?
He's lying. Shut it down now.
Mabel, please.
It's easy to forget now, but at the time the audience couldn't really be sure themselves. Stan had shown a lot of questionable behavior, and there hadn't been a lot of clues in the show as to his real motives. Or rather, the clues that were there were so subtle that most people didn't really pick up on them. So for all everyone knew, Stan really could have been the bad guy. And what we're seeing here is a 12-year-old girl that has to decide then and there whether or not the uncle she's come to love was ever real. But Mabel being Mabel...
Uncle Stan?
6, 5.
I trust you.
She trusts her gut. And oh man, is it a good thing she did. For the sheer amount of consequences this choice could carry, and most of all for the aversion of what would have been a needlessly dark plot twist, this moment shines as one of the most intense and rewarding the show has to offer. Plus, this episode did give us Tale of Two Stans, which we all know is a pretty big showstopper in itself. Number 3. Wendy calls Dipper out. Now, you're probably thinking that for as high on the list as this is, there's a hell of a drop in the stakes at play from entry to entry here, and you would be absolutely right. But I like this moment for other reasons. In the episode Boys Crazy, Dipper realizes that Robbie, his crush Wendy's boyfriend, has been using backmasked mind control messages in songs he plays for her to make sure that she falls for him. And in typical Gravity Falls dark humor fashion, this is apparently a fairly common thing.
You see, Dipper, music has subliminal mind control hidden in it all the time. If you want to hear the mind-controlling messages, you gotta slow down the record.
What? Pfft. Come on, guys, now you're just being paranoid.
Oh girl, I hope you don't think that I'm rude when I tell you that I love you, boo. I also hope that you don't see through this cleverly constructed.
Oh. With a bit of help from Stan, Dipper sets out to expose Robbie for the manipulative bastard he's been. And sure enough, he succeeds, resulting in Wendy angrily breaking up with Robbie. So that's it then. All is well now, right?
Ha! Hey! Now that your night is free, me and Grunkle Stan were thinking maybe bowling or something?
Are you serious? Right now? Ugh! What is wrong with guys?
You only think about yourselves.
All of you should just leave me alone!
Oh, I'm really sorry, Dipper. I know that hurt, but you kinda deserve that one. For the most part, Dipper's crush on Wendy is pretty adorable and fairly innocent, and it helps that she's always been nice to the twins, being about the coolest person they could have met that whole summer. So I get it. But fact is, right here, Dipper falls into the old trap of thinking of someone else as a trophy. And I don't mean that in the sense that he's being cruel or that this is just a thing that guys do. In many supposed love stories, the solution is to break your love up with the antagonist and then you win by default. But no, that's not how it works. And that's not how it should work. Breakups hurt. People need space. And if you have to intervene in someone's life, it should be for their sake, not yours. All of that is on display here. And thankfully, while Dipper is understandably hurt, she gets it. And instead of using this as a springboard for forced drama for the rest of the series, we get this.
Ah, chin up, kid. You were trying to do the right thing. Even though you destroyed a relationship and part of my car.
You think she'll ever forgive me?
I bet she will. And until then, you can always go bowling with me.
Thanks, Grunkle Stan.
Don't mention it, kid.
And she does forgive him, and that's why this is so high on my list. Because it was handled maturely and they never used it as a springboard for drama between the main characters. Cheers to the whole writing team on this one. Number 2, Stan's Sacrifice. Oh my god, how awesome was the finale! This is how you do a finale, folks. Everything came back in full force in this one. Almost every single plot thread left hanging was resolved and used in the final epic confrontation. Everything came to a head, including STANFORD's trust issues. With Bill being all-powerful and all other attempts to beat him having failed, the two realize that the only way to defeat him is to let him enter Ford's mind as he wants, and then erase it with the mind eraser gun. The problem is Ford is immune to it. So in a clever bit of trickery, Stan poses as Ford and traps Bill inside his mind and lets himself get shot with a mind eraser. And what follows is undoubtedly the most casually badass line in the whole show.
idiot! Don't you realize you're destroying your own mind too?
It's not like I was using this space for much anyway.
Let me out of here! Let me out!
Aside from the obvious heroic sacrifice, let's dissect how badass this is. Stanley, this crotchety old man, not only spends decades trying to rescue his brother and succeeds, he not only saves more people than Ford could during the WEIRDMAGEDDON, he not only willingly sacrifices his mind to take down Bill, he reduces a sadistic, manipulative demon to begging for its life by doing the one thing he's had to do to survive his whole life: scamming him. And with just that, he saves all of reality. It's simple, it's beautiful, it's totally in character, and it's absolutely badass. Good job! Some would say his sacrifices rendered moot since he regains his memory shortly after. But personally, I see it as a man who's never had a moment's rest for 40-something years, finally getting his just reward. And now I can hear you cry, what? The finale is in the number 2 spot, but what can he possibly consider better than that? Well, before I reveal that, why don't we take a look at some honorable mentions. It took a whole season for Wendy to join the adventures, but when she figured out the shapeshifter, she proved herself more than capable in the most badass of ways.
Get off me!
It only took Bill approximately half a minute to establish himself as one of the most unique, psychotic, and interesting villains in animated TV history. Talk about debuting with a bang.
Deer teeth! For you, kid! You're insane! Sure I am. What's your point?
I thought both the anthology episodes were a little weak overall, but claymation versus 2D animation is just undeniably awesome. In this moment, Dipper shows incredible courage in refusing to fight with Robbie, and he actually manages to make him stand down. Though admittedly I may be biased because I've been in a very similar situation myself. Just, you know, without the giant rampaging video game character.
Zap zap! We're mad with power!
And love.
Oh god, yes, someone finally said it. Good for you guys. Good for you. And now, my top favorite moment in Gravity Falls is... Number 1. Dipper versus Gideon. Now, before any of you cry foul, I do have my reasons for putting this up here. For as much as the show dropped hints that something bigger was going on, the first season was pretty episodic overall. And frankly, I wasn't all that fond of Gideon. He was a pretty formidable opponent, sure, but he came across to me as gimmicky, and his appearances beyond his first one really just made him look incompetent. At least to me. I found him to be an annoying, pointless addition. And then he summoned Bill, who not only completely upstaged him as a character, but clearly had his grubby fingers much deeper in the show's lore. The way I saw it, there was just no way for Gideon to dig his way out of this hole. And then he did this.
Hey, do you guys feel it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pines family. Did I wake you? Spoiler alert, Stanford. I've got the deed. The mystery shack belongs to me. So get off my property.
Within a split second, Gideon wrecks the mystery shack and practically gets the entire town to worship him. At this point, this was the show's darkest hour. And just to up the ante further, he commandeers a giant Gideon robot and kidnaps Mabel, all to completely crush Dipper's spirits.
Face it, kid. You're nothing without that journal. How you gonna fight that? No muscles, no brains. What are you gonna do, huh? What are you gonna do?
In the grand scale of things, this scene is nothing compared to what Bill does later. But while Bill did show up in the former episode and made a hell of an entrance, that episode only took place in Stan's mind and was all about finding a combination to a lock. This right here, this was the moment the series showed us how far it was willing to go, how the status quo could be shaken up, and just how high stakes could get. And with Bill in the back of our minds and a season 2 on the way, we knew it could only escalate. That's why I put this on top. To me, it's a defining moment for the show as a whole. So there you have it. Those are my 10 favorite Gravity Falls moments. Please write your own favorites in the comments. I really want to read them. But unfortunately, like all great things, this video has come to an end. And so has Gravity Falls. It's been a hell of a ride, and while I'm sad to see it go, I respect the decision to keep the show's integrity by not forcing its length. It's rare to see that in TV nowadays, and at least it went out in style. And deep in my heart of hearts, I'm absolutely sure that Alex Hirsch and the entire team have many more great adventures in store for us in future projects. In fact, as far as I'm concerned,
The fun is just getting started!
hello guys, and thanks so much for watching my top 10 favorite Gravity Falls moments video. I really love this show, and I hope this video does a good enough job of showing why. Did your favorite moment not make the list? Let me know in the comments, I'm dying to read it. And while you're at it, why don't you press the like button and subscribe to my channel? There are plenty more videos to watch there and many more goodies on the way. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter and Twitch, all of which have links in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.